Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be performing two operations on linked list. First one is insertion of a node in linked list, and the second one is deletion of a node in a linked list. So if you remember in the previous video what we had done, we had created a linked list of three nodes containing value 10, 20 and 30. Firstly, we created three nodes and then connected them with each other forming a linked list. Further, we performed an operation traverse on the linked list in which we traversed the linked list, for which we created a traverse function and passed a value head into it. Inside the traverse function, we used a temp variable and assigned it with the head node. And for the traversal of our linked list, we used the while loop. So in this video, we would be performing insertion and deletion. So without wasting much time, let's get started with our work. Let's see how we're gonna perform insertion of a node. This is how we're gonna perform this insertion in linked list operation. Over here, you can see three nodes of a linked list A, B, and C. A points towards B, B points towards C, and C points towards null. Over here, we are having a new node D, and we want to add this in between B and C. So basically, we want to make this D node as the third node of our linked list. So this is our first step, where we have assigned D with the address of C node. More precisely, it can be said that the D node or the node to be added is assigned with the address of the node next to the position where it is supposed to be added. So after our first step, our linked list would look like this, where B is assigned with the address of C and D is also assigned with the address of C. So after the first step, in the second step, we have assigned B with the address of D. It means B would now point towards D. So that means the link between B and C is broken now. So the only way of link traversal is A to B, then B to D, D to C, and C ultimately points towards null. So that's how our linked list would look like. This is our final linked list. A is pointing towards B and B is pointing towards C, which is the third position where we wanted to add our new node. Let's see how we're gonna implement this in the form of code. So let's start our coding work. For this, we'll first need to create an insertion function. Inside this function, we are passing three parameters. First one is the head of the node, second one is the position where we want to add our new node. The third one is the data that we want to assign to the new variable. Inside the function, firstly we'll need to create a new node that we want to add inside our linked list. Now we are creating an if statement for if the user passes POS value as equal to 1. That means we have to assign the new node as the head. It means the new node will be the head of our linked list. Now after making the new node point towards the head, it means the new node is now the head of our linked list. So now we'll be passing the new node as the return value of our function. If the value of POS is not equal to 1, for which we have to create a new temporary variable, so that we can traverse the linked list and reach the location where we want to add our new node. So basically, we want to reach a location of the position before where we want our new node to be. See how we're gonna do it. Here we are going to implement the steps that we have just discussed. The first step would be assigning the new node with the address of the next node. In our case, it is temp.next. Step 2, we have to assign the address of the new node to the node at the position just before where we want to add a new node. So in our case, it is temp, and the address inside this temp would be pointing towards the new node. Now, returning the head of our newly created linked list. To use this function, we first need to call that function. Let us assign this value inside head. Three parameters we need to pass. First one would be head. The second one would be the POS, the position where we want to add our new node. So let's take an example 3, and for data, let's take 80. Now traverse it. This is the code that we have created, right? So let's see how our code works. See, this is our original linked list, and this is our modified linked list where we have added 80 in at third position. Now let's check our if condition that we have created. This condition where POS equals to 1. Simply we need to change this value 3 as 1. Let's run the program and see what happens. Over here you can see the new node has become the head of our linked list. See, so now let us perform the deletion operation on our linked list.